What's up, Fed Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Fed Chats. This is episode 8, and today we are here with Kevin Kochman of KCL, and I'm going to let him introduce himself after I just introduced him, and tell you a little bit about himself, what he does, where he's from, and take it away, Kev.
Hi, Fed Nation. Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. I'm Kevin Kochman of KCL, and back in 1985, my dad, Ron Kochman, and I started Kochman Consultants. He was a food service consultant for many years, independent, been using AutoCAD. And back in 85, I was a little younger and more of a computer geeky kind of guy and helped him with his computers, his AutoCAD, and college was not exactly for me. I gave it a shot and he said, hey, I think we can sell this idea to other people. So we got together, and back in the days when the computer was disk drives, for those of you old enough to remember the floppy disks, maybe even those large, they were about 8-inch disks. I don't know if I can do the right size here, but that's when we started. Color was green. It was one screen, and things have changed a lot in the last 35 years. But for those of you that have seen our information, we're basically 100% food service centric. Fed Nation, relatively new to us. I know that the primary, I'm going to say not concern, but your primary feature here is trying to keep promoting and use social media, but a lot of it comes rich from your service background. And that's the one area of the channel partners that's a little newer to us. But as we'll talk, I love to kind of talk about how we can help some of the service people, what we do. But yeah, I'm a food service for lifer. In May, it will be 35 years. So thanks for having me on today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, about 35 years, and that's one of the beauties of this industry. There's a lot of history here, and a lot of family businesses and a lot of things of that nature. It's rich in that, right? So we go back generations. We talk about the computers. I remember when I was in 8th grade, we had the big Apple Macs, and we had the disk drives. We were playing Oregon Trail and all that stuff. So I do remember it. I have a little bit of each, because I'm an '80s baby, so I have a little bit of each. I remember some of that stuff.
Yeah, games that had no graphics, but they were still exciting.
They were. Loved
I
Oregon
mean,
Trail.
that's what it was, right? You're like, what's going to happen next? But there was no graphics, and you still could have fun for hours. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was fun. And but talking about service kind of being a newer kind of sector of the industry, your main customers are going to be, because we saw you at MOPSI. That's really that's where your main customer core base is.
Our customer core is designers, so I would say actually our strongest direct channel partner would be FCSI and FEDD that do design work. The reps we've been working with for years, but actually with the virtual background that I have behind me, that's actually our newest tool that the reps really like. They can do design without having AutoCAD. And so we've been promoting that for the reps. It's also good for some of the service providers that, hey, we need to see how it's going to fit. You don't need that whole big CAD thing. So we could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
For us, out of the 5 channel partners, we've been working with NAFM, FEDD, FCSI for many decades, MOPSI for a long time as they're integral into the process. And I think we're one of the few companies that really embraces, and we are working with all 5 of the channel partners. And as I said, Cefesa, that's new to us in the last couple of years, but it's a great organization, and we're hoping to be able to educate as we go on. This, unfortunately, timing, as you know, with COVID, there's no conferences. So that makes it a little bit harder to network, and they've had the regional meetings that we've been to. I think we saw in Chicago last year at the racetrack, right? It was the indoor racing. So, that was a great options for Cefesa to say, hey, you don't have to travel the country unless you're, Rich and Angel, who are flying in from Jersey to join everyone. But
Right.
it was a local meeting that, you're able to network, learn a little bit, talk a little bit. And I think that's a great concept that Cefesa is doing with the regional meetings.
Yeah. I worked the regional meeting circuit there last year. I got to speak at each one, and it was a lot of fun, and you meet a lot of people. And it's great for the regions. And talking about MOPSI, FEDD, FCSI, they actually just joined the group. I would say in the last week. the Fed group, and I'm seeing a lot of that since this all started. We've really the numbers have surged, well over 500 now,
That's
and
great.
yeah, I mean it's really starting
Well,
to catch fire.
at the meeting, I mean, that was, your first, and
Yeah,
that was a really, I think, uh, a step that said, hey, we're not just a Facebook group. We're not people that are just talking. Look, we're going to come together, we'll use the lingo, IRL, and everyone got together face to face. And you had, a nice presence at having the executive director of MOFSI there,
yeah,
helping spread the word, the president of MOFSI at the time. I know FCSI sent representative there as well.
yeah,
Future ones will get bigger and better, but that
yeah.
helps to really spread the word. And I know when we talk to people at other meetings, we explain, hey, here's what's going on. This isn't CFESA, it isn't FCSI, FEDD, or NAFM. This is all channels saying, let's make our whole industry step up. Seeing some of the manufacturers and dealers that were at your meeting, their presence on social media is phenomenal. Um,
Yes,
I, I'm going to say I can't pull the name out, but let's go with uh, Univex and Magali have a couple of people. I can
yeah,
remember the brands, but not the people right now.
yes,
They promote, they show on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and that's the word that you're trying to spread, and something that we've been doing for. I'd like to think we were kind of doing what you're doing in a low key way. We haven't pushed it, and
mhm,
we haven't tried to stretch and educate others, but we know the power of social media,
yes.
especially for a small business.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what the Fed Nation kind of became. You know, it started out just trying to bring some people together in a community as I'm trying to build a brand and everything, and it just kind of spiraled into this whole living, breathing thing that's going to be events and education and networking and just really trying to, you know, make this industry bigger and louder online. And the more we do stuff like this, I think the more excited people are going to get, and understand that it's not that hard to jump on camera because so many people are nervous to jump on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, you were kind of nervous in the beginning.
I, you know, I, I've been talking in front of people for a long time, and I will say this: I get nervous every time. I know what I'm talking about, so it's not a problem. But I'm looking at the camera, going, "Yeah, those cheeks are. This COVID is starting to add a few pounds there." So,
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah,
well, and I can't do that facial hair to hide anything because it would just look horrible. It looks horrible when I try to do it.
yeah,
But no, it takes. Listen, you have stepped up in a way that out of your comfort zone, that your business, the service industry.
mhm,
I love when I've seen the stories of you're going to the schools and talking to them and saying, hey, here's options for you. You're not just saying we're a service company, do this. Explain what they can do. And at the meeting, talking about the videos that service companies can promote. And I know a couple other service companies. Again, I apologize for not remembering the names, but you did a Fed chat with Roger from, is it United?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that memory's not horrible.
There you go.
Um, you know, I remember hearing him at the meeting and talking about how you can engage. And a couple of facts that you mentioned that I think are phenomenal of, look at the elevator companies that have serviced people around the country.
Hmm.
They make a nice living, they have them. They don't seem to have a problem like we do. You're still going to get dirty on the underneath and the top of the elevator. Maybe not quite as grimy as behind a fryer that hasn't been cleaned in 6 months, but you
Right.
know, you can make money doing this, and you don't have to go and spend $100,000 on a college degree.
Yeah.
So I like those little examples. They resonate with me. Not everyone is meant for the path of college. That didn't work for me, and here we ended up. It works out okay. You're doing the same thing. Um,
Yeah.
neither one of us is Bill Gates, but he didn't finish school. So,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, college was not for me. I couldn't. I hated school. I just did. I hated school my whole entire life. I didn't want to wake up in the morning. My mom was yelling up the stairs for me to wake up in the morning. She said, "Wake up!" I I didn't even want to get up to go to school. So yeah, I mean, letting these kids know that there's options, and that's one of the things that's unfortunate with all the stuff that's happening. I was scheduled to speak at Lincoln Technical Institute at a couple of different places. Their north and central Jersey locations when this all happened. So
right.
hopefully when this is over, I'll be able to get back in there and talk with these kids and let them know, because they're there. Lincoln Technical. I mean, they're there for just a trades job. So
Right. Well, something to mention, to the school even. see if, they're doing online learning.
Hmm.
Offer up and say, if they're doing a Zoom meeting, can we do a 15-minute or a half hour? They're trying to fill time right now. I mean,
Yeah.
what they did in person and what they're doing. I have, my wife and I have 3 kids who are in college doing e-learning. And I'm not going to call them out specifically, but the 2 that are in the house with me, the TV's on, the computer's on, they're doing their e-learning while they're playing video games, or someone's out in the backyard when it wasn't snowing like it is today,
Yeah.
on a hammock with their computer, and they're in class. Now, they're college kids. They know what they need to do. I'm not going to get on top of them for everything that they're doing. But we were talking to, do you know who the Culinary Institute of America, CIA?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so they were at uh, the NAFM sales and marketing meeting, which was just after yours before this all shut down.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we do for any educational institution that contacts us, if a student downloads our software and we see it's an EDU, we email and say, talk to your professor or administrator. We'll give you use of the software at no charge for a semester. And some have AutoCAD, some have Revit. Well, I was talking to someone from CIA. Again, I like to say Culinary Institute because I'm not into that spy stuff that I can tell you about. Okay, I can't tell you about it. And they are on e-learning. Well, imagine you're going to chef school and you have to do e-learning. They're going to be talking about food and cultures, but without the hands-on, they're losing hours of education. And we mentioned this, hey, maybe they do designs, and they said, yes, we do design portions. So I offered up, I'd be happy to talk to them for a half hour one day. It's just something that is different than listening to lectures over and over. I think you'd be great at talking to the schools who have homebound trapped students.
Actually a great idea. Yeah, maybe I can reach out to them and see if there's something we could do virtually, like we're doing here, like this.
It saves you some time and effort of the travel if you can do it this way.
Yeah.
One of our manufacturers, Rationale, yesterday hosted one of their team meetings. I think they had about 80 people on the Zoom meeting, and we did hey, here's what your information looks like in KCL. Here's what you can do. I would say about 15 out of the 80 within the first half hour said, I didn't know that, signed up for even like our mobile app that's free. We're not
Right.
looking to, it's not trying to squeeze money out of everyone, it's educating.
Yeah.
And if we're able to educate on the Zoom meeting instead of going to the conference, we feel good about it. And it's sometimes nice to have that live chat on the side. Having a good moderator, I will say Rationale had a real good moderator there, but
Mhm.
we're doing our demo and you can see someone say, oh, I didn't know we could do that. Oh, that's cool. How much does it cost? Oh, it's free. Okay, that's even better. So use this time like you're doing with us, but I think you can really pass along some good knowledge to the schools, and they need information. I
Yeah,
mean,
they do.
it's tough to just listen to a teacher for 3 hours or 3 teachers, and you're not really interested in hear someone like yourself. Hey, here's a career in something that you could talk about making money. It's like, wait, making money?
Yeah.
You're gonna get their interest.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this is, I've talked to a lot of people about this. I think we're looking at what the new norm might look like, at least for a while, or it could be forever. It could be longevity that we're going to be doing more of these Zooms, and I'm thinking about down the line events that I wanted to do in person, live in person, and I'm sure I'm going to do that again,
You
uh,
will.
like everyone else. But I'm wondering now. I'm saying to myself, this is kind of cool, and this is a little different, but we could really get a lot done and connect people having some virtual conferences and virtual panels and virtual things like that, especially as the group grows. I mean, we're at over 500 now. I mean,
Right.
if we continue on, I mean, there's going to be thousands of people in this thing before the end of the year. So, I think this is what the future might look like. And talking about, the future and what that looks like. So you working from home, when
Yes.
how long have you been home? Have you been home for 4 weeks now, 3 weeks now? And how is this transition, being home every day and getting things done?
So that's a great question. I've been working at home for about the last 20 years. So it's not a big change,
Okay.
but talking to people who are working at home, we've got an office setup. Eve, who, my wife, who also works for the company,
Yep.
we've got an, Yes, yeah, she's not in the house. She actually, we've been separated by about 1,000 miles for the last 6 weeks. So she and one of our other kids are in another state, and we'll hopefully all get together again in a couple weeks. Yeah, that's been a little bit different, but we can work virtually as she's
Yeah.
able to get work done for the company. Um, we have a good setup. We
Hmm.
have an office space that is, I will say, 2 doors separated from the family. There's, our office door, there's a hallway. Uh, I've been working at home when the kids were little and we didn't have that space. And it's tougher because they like to watch TV. They see you now, with our office, they know if the door's closed, hey, I'll open it slowly, check and see, our mom or dad on the phone kind of thing. Um, we have the multiple monitors, high-speed internet, everything that we've needed here for years. But the people that I talk to that are working on the dining room table, it's tough. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not the same as your office environment. You're not going to be quite as productive. And getting used to the groove of how do I be productive and know that there's laundry to do. And, oh,
Yeah.
you know what? That TV, I'm watching the news and all of a sudden 2 hours passed because I want to know what's going on in the world. It,
Mhm.
it takes discipline,
Yes.
and you also have to be careful to not fall into that trap of, oh, well, you know what? It's 8 o'clock at night. I'm going to go do work. You do have to block out time for the family. Uh, the 2 kids home, I'm going to say this. I don't know if I lost you there. It looks like I might have locked up.
Your screen
There we
did.
go.
I hear you.
Okay. Well, that all of a sudden it seemed to just zoom on itself. Um,
Yeah.
that happens with technology these days. Yesterday,
Yeah.
before a big meeting, cable went out. So the backup plan is what can I do with the phone and work on that. But
Yeah.
I've really been trying, as it's myself and the 2 kids, to make sure that they're college age, but they still like to play games. So a few times a week at night, they're like, hey, what can we play? And we make the time to do that instead of sitting at the computer all day, because it's very easy when you're home to just get lost and go, oh, I'm working all day. Well, is work, you're on LinkedIn reading everyone's posts, or are you being
Yeah.
productive? In your case, LinkedIn can be work.
Oh yeah.
But I find myself, I'll look and I'll start at Facebook and you'll post something, I'll click on that. And now I've watched a half-hour video. And then I click to go, oh, who's that other person in the group? And now I've fallen in that Facebook hole for, an hour. It's like, where'd
Yeah.
it go? It wasn't work. So discipline is important, and
Yeah.
trying to have some regularity of hours for people. How has it been for you?
I think the word discipline is right on the money. I think I'm a little disciplined, but I also have like an ADD, I guess, kind of thing going on.
Sure, sure.
So I could be easily distracted here in this house. That's why I do miss the office and the run and the grind. But I mean, I'm doing what I can from home. For the service perspective here in Jersey, we've kind of been at a standstill the last couple of weeks. Really, I mean, we do still have some guys running on emergency calls for
You
supermarkets
do.
and C,
Good.
but it's that's really the only people that are calling us or want us in their kitchens. So, but for me here, this is important for me to keep doing because I not only enjoy it, but I am continuing to build the brand and a business here with this. And talking about LinkedIn, LinkedIn, yeah, it can actually you can actually get work done on LinkedIn when you're not consuming. So you got to space out the consuming of the content versus the kind of connecting and putting out the content. So I mean, reaching out to people on LinkedIn, saying, hey, I really love your stuff, blah, 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 and just building these new relationships that might have said in the past, like, hey, I really want to get on LinkedIn and make it worth my while when I get on there and connecting with the right people, because you really could. This is the perfect time to jump on LinkedIn and connect with people and think about what's going to be, in 3, 4, 5 months from now. You have the opportunity to start these relationships. And 3, 4, 5 months from now, once you start a relationship on LinkedIn, now you could actually start talking about business and networking with these people. You can't go
Right.
right into the kill. You can't go right in and say, hey, I want to sell you though. When people do that to me, it's the ultimate turnoff. Dude, I don't know you. You're trying to be my financial advisor. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yeah, the LinkedIn intro that says, hey, we do accounting for small businesses. We do this. It's like, that's
Yeah.
great, but I hit ignore.
Yeah.
I want to see when someone asks me, I want to see that they have some relation to our industry. And whether it be, it could be the controller from a service company, a manufacturer, it could be a designer, it could be salesperson. I just want to see that there is a connection. So you mentioned LinkedIn this morning. I'm just going to give a shout out to two people on LinkedIn that Joe Ferry,
Oh,
and he had just posted a short video about um, uh, where he sees things headed in the next, new future, and it was insightful, gave a comment to that. And then there's a consultant out in Seattle, his name's AJ Barker, and known him for many years, and he had this substantial post about Washington State and what they need to do. And so, the people that I have that connection with, and when I see that, it's even more engaging to me, and then I want to engage with them, which is that circle of let's keep this going.
yeah, that's what it's all about. It's about engagement and community, and actually, forgetting about the likes and all these different numbers that people are always worried about. How many followers and forget about that. If you could connect with people and have 400 people in your network that matter, it
Right.
matters much more than 4,000 people that don't.
Right.
You know,
I'm going to say you're preaching to the choir that again, I've been doing computers, this industry, a long time. And when we talk to people and they say, oh, we can get you, 100,000 likes. I'm like, that's great, but we only have about 8,000 people in our world right now that are even interested. So I'm not sure who the other 92,000 are. Now, again, from your meeting, I'm not great with names all the time. There was the real estate person from your area. What was his name?
Ed Stulak.
Ed Stulak. Told some great stories of how he was using it to do things, and then the random connections of, he started with a story of I'll say younger kid, teenager, connected with him on LinkedIn, or not LinkedIn, Snapchat. I'm like, I don't know where the story's going. And it turned into, oh, his dad's a developer. And now he's got a real estate connection because Ed sells, real estate. These things happen. So, there may be other connections. I do think that the service people and the manufacturers, especially, taking advantage of the tools, whether it be Snapchat, or we were joking at the meeting about TikTok. Hey, you know what? If you want to reach young people, that's where they are. I mean, my 20-something daughter that's with us, she sends me, I don't know, 1 or 2 TikTok videos a day. They're very lowbrow humor because she knows what I like.
Yeah.
We won't talk about what the videos are, but she's on it all the time.
Yeah.
And that's how you can reach, this industry keeps saying, we need new blood. We need young people. Well, then they're not going to the NAFM show. They're not going to any conferences. Find them on social media, on that phone. That's where they are all the time.
Where they are. It's where they
So,
are. It's the way of the world, and we're not going to go back to the other way. There's a lot of, this industry's full of a lot of old things, a lot of old school stuff, old ways, and that there's a lot of, this is the way we always did it, and it worked for 30 years. I get, if my dad were still actively part of the business, I could hear him saying, "Listen, kid, I built this thing 30 years ago. What do you think? You think all this stuff doesn't work? I know what I'm doing here."
right.
A lot of the stuff that he would say is still tried and true today, but we have to adapt. Like we're all adapting now. The whole world is on Zoom. I mean,
Rich, you're not in trouble. I heard that in the background. You're not in trouble, are you?
you know something? This is another new norm in my neighborhood. We hear sirens all day and night now.
Wow.
It's just constantly. Yesterday there was fire trucks out here. Something happened with a small fire, a couple of houses down. There's just, I don't know what's going on out there.
Well, I hope people are okay. I didn't know if it was the police coming for you. I wasn't sure what was going on back there.
Eventually, what's taking them so long?
No, it is that using what we have now. This is time that many of our clients, whether they're designers or manufacturers, when we started this lockdown, I thought, okay, I'm really going to hunker down and get caught up on office work, things that I've been wanting to do for a while. We travel twice a month on average for conferences and meetings. And that's a lot of, you're gone, you got to do the work when you get back. We've been so busy that, as I said, everyone wants to do meetings because they're realizing, let's take this downtime to educate ourselves. So when we do get busy again, we're ready to go. I don't know if we had mentioned this to you or not, but we actually, January 1st, we hired our first outside salesperson, and he's in Italy. So we were trying to branch out, which is great. And then right after he went to his first meeting in January, Italy became, shut down.
Yeah. So yeah.
Hotspot.
So what happened? What happened with that?
So he and his family are doing okay. What he is doing is, emailing a couple times a month, trying to get on social media, and we're planning for when we get back to normal. So
Yeah.
we're busy doing meetings with him and identifying what we can do. Again, it's just timing of things. I mean, if I could go back in time and go, well, maybe we should postpone this, but I think we're able to use this downtime that he can't go to meetings, we can't go. Now we have that extra time back. So we're really using it to plan ahead. We're using it to educate. As I mentioned, we do Zooms, we do go to webinars. We have a Tech Tip Tuesday we've been running for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Almost every Tuesday, we do a 15-minute to half-hour webinar.
Mhm.
You know, this is different. We're talking, people don't want to listen to you drone on without any interaction for an hour. 15, 20 minutes has been great. And again, if we get 100 views or we get 50 views, we know people are looking at it because they will contact us later and say, hey, when are you going to do a video on this feature? Oh, we'll do it. Oh, I really like looking at those videos when I'm on the computer. And I'm like, that's great. That's not my personality, but there are many people who like those tips.
Yeah,
So,
and that's important for Fed Nation to know, because we're talking about digital. We're talking about getting people educated and understanding different things. So that's what your business does.
right,
My business. Before this all started, me and Angel were going to start doing a lot of how-to videos.
right.
But that's got a pin in that for now. But
Understand, but that's a great idea, because if they see your how-to, they're like, oh, these guys know what they're doing. Maybe it's beyond my knowledge base. Even though I watch the video, I'm going to call them. And it may not be that direct order to you, but you're now in their mind as my mind, and you heard me working going, well, I can't remember. Now I'm going to have to go find what was the name of that. Was it Angel or Rich? I saw that video, but it's getting into their head a little bit, which is great.
yeah, and that's something like the last takeaway from this is, I think, being consistent. Like you said, you've been doing this Tech Tip Tuesday for almost
Yep.
2. Whether 50 people are seeing it, 100 people, same thing for me. I mean, my numbers are not staggering in a lot of these things, but I know the people that are seeing them are getting value from them. So stay consistent and don't stop. Like, make sure that if you commit to something, video wise, like we did a video a day last year, we did all these different things. We committed to it. Now we're moving on. We're doing some different things, but um, commitment and consistency. People are gonna remember you, and they're gonna keep coming back for more. So
Well, and that is, I will say, the credit goes to Eve and Kim, who does a lot of our social media of pushing. I'm like, I mean, a half-hour video live, a webinar, I'm going to say on average, it's about an hour. You've got the prep, in terms of that immediate time frame, and we plan ahead, but you clear everything off before, there's a little bit of review afterwards. So it does take time, but when you get feedback from a client that says, hey, I saw the video, it really helped, I'm like, all right, it doesn't have to hit 1,000 people, like you said. So um, we're we're trying to make the best use of our downtime. And again, something like this, happy to try to support the group. We're excited for you. I'm bummed we don't get to join for NRA this year, because you had one last year we missed, and we were
yeah.
hoping to get in on it this year.
Yeah, that's another sad part about it. I love Chicago, and I'm usually out there at least once or twice a year for NRA or maybe some other event. But this year we were actually partnering with Tech Town
Yeah,
for a rooftop event, and we had that in the works, and we were getting ready to put out all the invites, and so definitely gonna miss that. We're also gonna do a big meetup at the Univex booth. We were gonna do some
right.
T-shirt, just get people together and chatting, and do some cool things at the booth. But you know what? 2021 NRA will be there. We'll do it. You know.
Right. We have many years ahead. I also think we've done a couple of, again, FCSI, for their members and associates, have had a couple of happy hours late in the day, a Zoom happy hour.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of an open, hey, you can talk about different things. Many people will have their beverage of choice at their desk on the table. I mean, uh, last week's meeting, it's 4 o'clock. It was 4 o'clock Central Time. Well, someone from Alaska was in. It's a little earlier in the day for them. It's not quite happy hour, but you get to see people that you may not normally see. And I think that might be the occasional do that with the Fed Nation, that, you had, whatever it was, 70 people down in Miami. I don't remember the exact number. You had manufacturers, you have dealers, you have reps. Do one of those and just say, hey, let's get together. And again, you schedule 30 minutes to an hour. People can break away and they get to see what everyone's up to. You get a little bit of hi, hello. And with the Zoom, me personally, you also can use those side chats that sometimes I'm in a large meeting and I've noticed that you may have a few people doing a lot of talking. So
Yep.
instead of stepping over them, you go over to the chat and, I can say, hey, Rich, how are you guys doing? And you're still listening and joining in, but you can interact with people that I might not pick up the phone and call you, but I saw you in the Zoom meeting. I'm going to say hi. Or one of our manufacturers, if they watch this, they'll know who they are. They had the Golden Gate Bridge in the background as their virtual background.
Nice.
They were on an office chair leaning way back. I thought, I said, hey, nice background. Hope you don't fall in the bay. I could tell when he went to go read it, because all of a sudden he went like this, like I startled him when he went to read it. And I'm like, he might actually fall into the bay. I mean, so, you know, people have fun with their virtual backgrounds. I did a simple businessy one that I think my camera has changed something, but
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. It's snowing in Chicago, put up palm trees in the background. Everyone knows you're not there, but
Yeah.
you feel a little better about it.
I mean, you have a little fun with it. Speaking of virtual happy hours, I'm actually going to be on one today with Roger and Josh Zoll and some others.
Yeah.
And going forward, talking about virtual conference and panels and all these different things. I think happy hours, Fed Nation happy hours, is something that we're going to definitely look to do very soon. And
Yeah.
keep people talking and keep people connected, because that's one of the things again that we've been talking a lot about, mental health wise, and just staying connected and staying social. We talk about it's physical distancing, yes, but it doesn't have to be social. Like we have to continue, we have to keep talking, not just to each other, but this is the perfect opportunity to kind of incorporate this into your customers, to your reps, to your dealers, to the people you work with in the industry on a regular basis that you're not seeing anymore or talking to that much anymore, because business is kind of slowed down. And you could jump on a Zoom and update your email list and do so many different things we could be doing to stay connected. So there's still a lot to be done.
Well, so mentioning that, I think for a lot of people I've been talking to, Kim from our office has set up a co-work with KCL on Thursdays for a couple hours. And the intention there is you join up, talk for 10, 15 minutes with whoever joins and say, okay, let's go get some work done, but we'll stay on Zoom. Maybe you mute yourself, you go do your work for 30, 45 minutes and say, let's take a break and we can talk some more. I think for a lot of people who are now working at home, that's a big mental difference of there is no water cooler. There's no, hey, Rich, over the partition, what's going on, or what are you up to? Or, hey, Rich, can you talk a little softer because I'm on a call and I can't hear my call? You're by yourself. Again, for me, that's, I don't want to say the old norm, but I'm used to it, which is probably why something like this, I start talking, I just keep rambling, because I like that interaction. And the camera part's different. I don't have a camera on my main workstation on my computer. And so my meetings are all talking to people. It's like a phone call. The video actually adds a really nice level to it, because I find myself now when I'm doing my go-to meetings and webinars, moving my arms around like I'm on camera or pointing to something, and I'm like, you don't see that because there's no camera. So that's on my list to do, is put a camera on the main main workstation there. So
Yeah, yeah,
you're right.
yeah. So it's important stuff. And talking for food equipment service,
Yep.
and I wanted to. I'm bringing this up because I want to talk a little bit about Napkin Sketch. But for a service company like ours, 14 guys and 14 techs, and we're growing and things are happening. It's great. And trying to say to ourselves, even pre-COVID-19, we're saying to ourselves, what can we do to diversify? Selling equipment is something we've kind of done, but not really that much of. And I've really got into it in the last, I'd say in the last 18 months, I really started to sell more equipment. And we're doing so through dealers like Singer and M. Tucker in our area, right? And a Culinary Depot. So we're doing some things like that. And now with all this stuff that's happening, I'll talk about some sanitization stuff later, but for the service companies out there that are looking to spec in, ranges and steamers and different things of that nature, Napkin Sketch is something that could be beneficial to us.
Completely. There's actually two tools we have. One is completely free that might help you. The KCL mobile app for your phone or tablet, there is absolutely no purchase required. And we have the technical basic CAD Revit files. We have spec sheets. We have manuals from a lot of the manufacturers. There may be training videos or service videos as well. And you can call that up on your phone or tablet, No problem. It's easy. The napkin sketch, everyone always wants to know how much things are. I would say you have one company, one location, 14 people. It's a
Mhm.
flat $390 a year. It's not per person,
Okay.
not per seat, which again, in this COVID time, people are working from home going, oh, do I need another license? No, if you have a license for your company, it doesn't matter where you use it, when you use it, and how many people. Um, the napkin sketch would allow you to basically, instead of using the piece of paper, draw on the computer. We have a huge library of the symbols. You can hand sketch and then turn that into either a PDF or an AutoCAD file. So I wouldn't expect too many people at your place to say, I'm going to do a 30-piece kitchen layout, but maybe you've got a cooking area that someone has to replace a fryer or
Mhm.
range, and you want to show they've got a refrigerator already there. They have a work table on the side, so you can make it look a little bit nicer and either do an elevation, a plan, or even the 3D if you're comfortable enough.
Mhm.
It's easy enough to do, and again, you're giving me the self-promotion. I'm going to say you check out KCL CAD on YouTube, and there's a bunch of videos. There's a 15-minute napkin sketch how to use it.
Okay.
If it's interesting, you check it out. But we're really proud of the fact that we were the first company to come up with a mobile app in our industry, and it's been free from day one. And again, being able to, let's say you're talking to a client and they need some information, you pull out your phone, you find the model, and you email them the spec sheet right from your phone. You don't have to stop and go to the website or email the factory. So we actually, in conversations with service companies, they like that idea. I know there are other tools, and whether it's Parts Town has apps,
Mhm.
we're giving you the ability to say, hey, take what we have on the mobile app. If you want to customize it yourself just for your company, you can go in and add older models that aren't current anymore. If you have the manual, you link it in, we call it private cloud. So just for your service company, you can take the existing library, use our platform, and put in your top 50 items that need service.
Yeah.
390 bucks for the year. 14 techs all now have on their tablet a quick way to get it instead of Dropbox and which folder and where did I put it and what did I name. Much easier to say, hey, I'm looking for the Hobart, A120 mixer manual, and they can hit it in just a couple clicks.
Yeah.
So we do have, like I said, there's free and there's inexpensive tools. Uh, at some point, we're going to get a little more involved, like I said, with CFESA to really pump it up. We started dipping our toes in that water, and we're kind of shut down for a little while on getting to the groups in person, but we're hoping to be able to do like you're doing, the virtual meetings and
Oh, yeah.
use the YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. So, because, service companies, there's a lot of talk right now in diversification, talking about sanitization and uh,
Yes,
new norms that we're all going to be looking at. So I have a lot of ideas on stuff that I want to do, as far as, you know, strengthening the PMs and stuff that we're going to be doing, getting more in depth. And I think there's going to be more, there used to be the PMs are a hard sell sometimes to a lot of people.
very.
And I think that post COVID-19, there's going to be a lot of eyes on equipment and cleanliness and everything else. And I don't think that's going to go away. Especially, I think there's going to be new regulations and new mandates coming into play. And
I
so
agree.
I think there's a lot of opportunity, for our industry going forward. And again, the equipment sales for us is something that we're really, really looking to be that whole complete circle. Sales, service, maintenance. Now we're going to talk about deep cleaning, sanitizations coming in after night crews. So this is something I'm probably going to look to put into these technicians' hands. I'm going to look further into napkin sketch, and I think maybe other service guys should probably do the same. And we can maybe even talk more about that.
Yeah, we should. Offline, we can talk about that a little more. Sorry, I don't know what happened with the camera. I'm noticing that it changed something a little bit there, but you can hear me. You're good.
I can hear you. I can see your head. I mean,
Yeah, it's I didn't move. I'm in the same spot. The computer's in the same spot, and I'm afraid if I touch anything, it's just going to go blank. So I'm just going to leave it
well,
as is.
not the joke, but you look like a floating head right
Yes, I feel like Max Headroom, but that if you remember that show. So yeah, yeah.
now.
Um, We'll take it. It started out like I liked it, but no, we can take some stuff offline to talk to you about what we may be able to help, and anything you could think of, that we may be able to help out in the industry. Let us know. One of our manufacturers yesterday, who they do portable hand wash stations, and we were talking about how let's go in and add additional keywords to some of your products that you think will help during coronavirus or COVID. And if people are looking it up, I don't really want to use that as your keyword, but that can be additional that, oh, I'm looking for things that will help me during, COVID-19 or coronavirus, and have those pieces of equipment like a portable hand wash station that you might not think of. Um, again, I don't know about your manufacturers who you're working with. We have heard the gambit from some of them are really, really busy because their market is the fast food, drive-through, carry-out restaurants
Yeah.
who are booming. We have others who will have medical healthcare lines besides standard food service, are really busy. And then we have others who, small manufacturers that are specialty items, telling us their orders are almost shut down, but they're actually a little bit concerned when they get a new order. Do they want to ship it on terms to someone who, it's not like a piece of software you can turn off. It could be a $15,000 piece of equipment. They've got good credit, but you don't know if you're going to get paid. And that's a new challenge. I mean, you have parts that you have to stock parts so you can do that quick service. It's a different normal right now.
It is, and when this first started, I put out a couple of different posts about thoughts on looking, companies looking for money and putting people on hold and things of that nature. I guess I take some things personal, maybe when I shouldn't, but it is what it is. Because for a small business, I want to make sure that my guys and my girls are going to come back to something, and so I did put a freeze on payments and everything. We're starting to release payments little by little as the weeks have gone on, and important payments that we know we have to take care of. And I think what are your thoughts on that, on companies out there? I want to say for blood, but just on hold and looking for money. And where are you? Why? I'm like, well, we're closed. I mean, I don't have massive my revenues coming in like I normally do. So, what are your thoughts on collecting money in the state?
Well, I've got a couple things on that one. We'll start with you. Actually, I thought I saw in the beginning you were trying to tell. I think you put out a message that if someone needed service, you would take care of them, and we'll deal with the collection later. I'm paraphrasing it, but is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you basically, and that's companies that you've worked with that you expect those facilities to be around. You're like, look, we want to help you, we understand, but then there comes a point where you're at now, you're like, okay, we have to figure out how we're going to dole things out and parse it out.
Yeah.
We have well, our April newsletter, we put a note out there for all subscribers that are expiring. If you need help bridging it, here's what we'll do. Contact us and we can work out different plans for these people. We've had a few users, it wasn't overwhelming number so far, but we've had a few users say, you know what, I really need that. I'm going to take delayed billing, split it up. We're not charging service fees. We're trying to say, look, you've been with us for years.
Yeah.
We want to try to keep you going and help you. And yeah, I told you the software is $390 a year. That's not a make or break for most people. But if we can help, every little bit helps. We'll do what we can. On the other hand, we have, I will say, manufacturers, and I'm not going to name anyone, who were having some over 60-day collections. It's kind of hard for us to go, we don't want to be the one to get on the phone and say, pay us or else. So we have sent emails saying, well, just contact us. If you have a freeze, maybe we can do a partial payment now. Maybe you pay us monthly instead of annually. So we're trying to come up with solutions to help. But the juxtaposition of that is, I have people who will tell us, well, what can you do? And I explain what the offer is, and they go, oh, we'll just do a 2-year straight away. I'm like, okay. You asked me about how we can help you out, and then you're telling me you'll do a 2-year subscription. I don't quite understand how they go together. You being a small business, the other point is, if you want to talk about this, has your company applied for the PPP loan?
Yep, that's in.
So you got it.
I didn't get it. I haven't.
Okay, well that's okay. So this is what I'm going to add then. The application, depend on your banks. Our particular bank, wasn't ready. Then they were ready. Then they said, oh, the type of ownership, that one you're not ready yet. Then they're ready. I filled it out at 11 o'clock at night on either Monday or Tuesday, the week's a blur. And then a day later it said, oh, here you're ready for the next part. I went to log in. The site was down for 3-4 hours. I
Yeah.
forgot about it. I went back online the end of the day, filled out the rest of it. And then yesterday morning, I got an email. Sorry, the SBA is out of money.
I saw,
And
and that's where I'm at too.
yeah, I emailed the banker saying, so are we in the queue? There's no queue. So if you were a company, 1 minute after they shut it down, now you get to go through the process. So I'm hopeful that both sides, Republicans and Democrats, will come together and say, you know what, we're planning on more money. We're going to get it moving sooner rather than later. But that's a tough one. That'd be great for your firm to keep people on, to pay them, even if it's 75% of what they made, and allow you 25% for some overhead. That's going to buy you some time for when things pick up again.
Yeah, I mean, and I was reading some different. I saw the same thing you saw about their no more money.
Right.
But I've also I read some other different channels, different sites and things. It looks like there's a second round coming. So I think we're gonna see. We'll probably see something. I don't know how fast.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So hopefully that will come about. I'm gonna stay hopeful and positive. Honestly, just because I know the strength of our company and the strength of our industry. So, and I know we have, the revenue that we have generated, even though the money's not coming in, we have a lot of money on the street. So there's a lot coming in. We're starting actually to get payments in the last 10 days.
That's great.
We just put our, we're depositing some stuff. So we do have some stuff. So I know when we get back running, we'll be okay, but it would be nice to have that cushion.
That's the key word. That is exactly it, is that we're okay this month and next month, we're fine. Yeah. But if there's a cushion at worst case scenario, 1%, borrow rate, that's going to give you that extra float time. So here's a question I'm going to ask you is, I've been pretty positive throughout this thing of, hey, we're going to come back pretty strong pretty soon. I had a conversation with someone that kind of flipped me over of everything that can come back if the new rules, right? Wear a face mask, do the temperature check. Okay, no problem, sanitize. How do you reopen your sit-down restaurant and eat with a mask on?
Yeah. You can't. I think. I don't think you can. I think in my mind, what's going to happen is you're going to see restaurants. And I've talked with some people about this. This is kind of how I've come to this conclusion with others. But you're going to see restaurants losing maybe 30 to 40% of their normal seating. People are just going to have to be, that 6 feet apart thing. They're going to, a lot of people are in close quarters in restaurants. All these family meetings and everything. I think restaurants are going to have to say, okay, we have to pull out all this stuff. And I don't think it's forever. I really don't think it's forever. I agree. I think it'll absolutely be that way the rest of 2020, maybe into 2021 a little bit. But I think there's going to be just that new norm. Again, you're going to walk in restaurants and you're going to see hand sanitization. Please sanitize your hands before you sit down. Right. There's going to be separation, might be 10 feet per table. So you're going to see customers not in close quarters. And I don't foresee masks in the restaurants because, like you said, how can you? Are you going to be sitting here like, eating your soup and then putting? But I mean.
But the servers are going to want to have them on because you and I are sitting at a table eating, and I'm just going to say, let's say we're perfectly healthy, but you take that bite and you get you have a cough, it happens. Doesn't mean you have COVID. You just have that cough. Yeah. Well, the server happens to be right there at the time, so they have to wear masks while they're serving, which they can do.
I think the point, the servers wearing gloves, masks as they're serving, all that stuff. Even if you're not wearing hats, having the head,
right. Yeah, the PPE, the mask, it can be a shield or it doesn't have to.
Right. The hair nets and all that is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
But I think that's what we're going to probably see in restaurants. I'm looking forward to having this lifted. I'm excited not just to get out, but I want to see what the world is going to look like, the restaurant.
I do, as I said, I think that we're going to see a lot of non-restaurant services opening up sooner. That, look, I need to get a haircut. You may or may not have to, my hair is getting really shaggy. I want that done. I know, whether it's family members or friends who they get their nails done or they want to have other service, go back to the office. You can wear a mask in your office all day, make people feel comfortable. Your service team, they can wear a mask, go
Yeah.
out, service the equipment. So there's a lot of things we can get back on running, but the eating part's the tough one that sports teams, listen, we all want to watch sports again.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to put 10 or 40,000 people into a stadium and I do a temperature check, they can do it. Make them wear a mask, you can do it. Have hand sanitizer available, but will they open up and not let you eat? Because to eat, you have to take off the mask. Now, physically, we can all go 2 to 3 hours without eating or drinking. We can all do it. We do it all the time. But when you go to, Madison Square Garden, or you go to, watch a baseball game somewhere, you like to eat and drink while you're there. But you
Yeah.
can't do that with the mask. So the sports players, the professional athletes are saying, hey, we don't want to play without fans.
Yeah.
Do you think the owners would say, we'll bring in fans and no food or drink? I mean, you know, you still get your ticket price. You can broadcast on TV. The players get the fans. And those are some things that until, again, my personal opinion, until we have the vaccine,
Yeah.
nothing else is really going to be that cure. And for the restaurants, I do think you're going to see some, even fine dining, start adding that takeout module. There's a few local owned restaurants that are just one-offs that when we first shut down in Illinois, I said to the kids with me, I said, here are the places, mom and dad like a lot. Let's give them some business. We've taken out from them before. They actually do. The food is great. One's a hibachi place. You go there for the show where they can, they cook it up and they throw shrimp and they do all the things that are fun. Their food's delicious. They're not really set up for takeout, but they do it. And maybe going forward, they say, okay, we need to figure this out and set it up. Have you heard about some of the delivery companies and how much they charge? And there's kind of a little bit of a pushback to maybe not use some of those services
I mean, yeah, I mean, like Uber Eats and
and Grubhub and
well, I mean,
yeah.
it's very expensive to order at this point. We did McDonald's here. There's three of us
Okay.
with the service fee, the delivery fee, the tip.
Right.
Three meals, $60.
Yeah.
$60.
Yeah.
Six.
That's, yeah. 60 is, it's a lot for McDonald's.
Yeah. I mean, and just adds up. And
But maybe your McDonald's has the new, filet steak,
yeah,
versus the quarter pounder. Maybe that's why they charge more.
yeah. I don't know, and it could be the area too. This McDonald's in particular is a little pricey, but yeah, and I know some of these places are doing 50%. I think DoorDash is doing like 50% less fees and everything right now for both sides of the spectrum. I think I read that somewhere. And
Well, since the public kickback, they're starting to change, but some of the restaurants in our area use something called, I think it's Chow Now, and
oh,
it's an online ordering system, but you go pick it up. Or they use their own people to deliver to say, hey, you know what, you are a server, you want to deliver, but Chow Now doesn't, it's like a flat monthly fee. So
yeah,
they don't lose 30% of the order because very few restaurants have a margin that they can give away that kind of money. So I do think we're in for some new normal for, like you said, a year to two when the vaccine is available and everyone's comfortable. I really hope that in a couple years we can get back to the crowds without the mask, be comfortable and enjoy as what we had before. But it's
yeah.
going to take a little while.
Yeah, and I think the normal, our normalcies of the way it was before. Like I said, I think it's going to come right back. Honestly, I've been talking about this with other people. You see tragedy like 9/11, which I want to get your 9/11 story. But where you were. But after when 9/11 was occurring, same thing now. It altered the way we travel. It altered the way we kind of perceive things, and we're more alert in airports now. We're see something, say something kind of thing. I think we're going to get back to normalcy. We're going to be elbow to elbow in bars. We're going to be in stadiums. You fast forward to 2022. I mean,
Yeah.
vaccine will be in place, like you said, and life will continue to move on, and this will be something we're talking about 3, 4, 5 years. Remember that? I didn't think we were going to survive that. I can't believe COVID. What a crazy thing. But talking about tragedies in 9/11, where were you on 9/11?
So I was actually at home in my office in the basement, and this happened right after a NAFM show. NAFM was in, I want to say Orlando, that September, because NAFM used to be in the fall before they moved it
Oh, okay.
to February's. And my parents were down there, and I saw what was happening, and I mean, it was just I don't even have words to describe. You're seeing this on TV. We're in Chicago remote, and it's like, okay, you know, waiting for what's next. What's the next big target? Thinking more is going to hit. First there was New York. Then there was DC, and it was extremely scary. And because all of a sudden you started thinking of the whole country and how open things are and how we have so much freedom, which also potentially opens us up to those kind of tragedies. And someone who had been flying for a long time, I'm like, never even occurred to me to, charge an airplane, cockpit or any of that. So quite stunning. I mean, my parents, they ended up driving, there was a couple decades ago, they actually drove back, had the rental car we used for the trade show, and were able to drive back safely. That was my first thought was, you guys are down there. What are we going to do? How do we get you back? But a big difference between 9/11 and the crash, the recession, 2007-8, is you could still locally go do what you wanted and eat.
Yeah.
This one is just coming to the core of humanity, of socializing. 9/11 happens. I do remember that winter in our neighborhood. We're in Aurora, Illinois, in the suburbs. Everyone decorated Christmas lights with red, white, and blue lights that year.
Yeah.
And you could come together right after it happened and go out to your neighbors. And we just recently had a nice weekend 2 weeks ago, and we had several of us, our circle of neighbors. It was a giant circle because we were all several feet apart to be safe, instead of sitting around where you can actually talk, and everyone brought their own beverage instead of sharing like we normally do.
Yeah.
9/11, we could do that. You could come together, you could hug, you could touch, you could talk. So this is just, because this is taking away so much right now, it's tremendous difference.
Absolutely.
So I'm thinking, so 9/11 for you, uh, was that elementary or middle school?
No, I was 19. I was in college.
Oh,
I was.
I thought you're younger, Rich. See, I did the hand wave. I thought you were much younger than that. Okay, so you were an adult.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was in history class in Staten Island, New York. We were right there. I mean, we could see
Wow.
we could see it. We saw the smoke. We saw everything right from the windows. Um, it was very surreal. But I just look at it like two very different things, but tragedies that bring people together. And you're seeing people come together. You're seeing a lot more kindness out there. You're seeing a lot of people with empathy and in this together hashtags, and we're going to get through this. And everybody is um, leading with the heart right now. And this is not the norm. Which I think is a great thing too, which is the same thing with 9/11. I'm in my town of Bayonne here. 9/11 happened. People are like waving to you like, hey, how are you? Hey, people are like, strangers.
Yeah,
And
in New York, you don't often say hi to each other walking down the street, right?
oh,
No.
well, here we're right out. I'm 15 minutes outside Manhattan. We here in this town. We're a city. We're a small city. Here
Right.
like town, and everyone's just is like camaraderie, and people were worried and caring about other people, and we're seeing that now. And I think that's a lot to be said about our nation. We do come together in times like,
Agreed.
and
Agreed. There's the people, when you think about schools and going back to food service, right? Kids don't have that daily escape anymore. And I'm going to say, not getting too dark, some of them, school was safety to get out of the house for 6 hours a day, which is another very sad topic for me, to discuss. But food, right? That's where they got their sometimes one, maybe even two meals. Look at all the people that are still trying to come together to say, look, these kids need to eat. And they're doing these bag box lunches every day. Breakfast, come pick up. There are places that on Thursday say, take two because we can't be here tomorrow. And that, to what you just said, listen, we have a lot of people that care very much, and they're around other people trying to help the kids out.
yeah,
They didn't have the mask, maybe they have a mask now. So yes, I do think that the kindness of Americans will help get us through this, but it only goes to a point, because I'm going to flip this on you and say, then you have the people who are protesting in states, and they're not being socially distant.
yeah,
They're mob mentality of open things up. And, whether it was true or not, I saw a video of, the protesters driving to the Capitol and they're blocking the road. So emergency vehicles are trying to get through. And it's like, guys, just stay at home a little longer. This is helping.
Right.
And the people that go, well, no, it's not as bad as they said, because we're taking drastic measures.
Right. Right.
So, again, 9/11 changed your airport travel. I remember when my phrase is, you could OJ through the airport from the Hertz commercial. Not that you're killing people, you're running through the airport. And 9/11, and it's like, oh, this takes forever. Now you have your ways you can get through the airport a little bit quicker. Now we're almost back to normal again. So,
Yeah.
but that's 20 years later. This, hopefully, we're going to hop back in a couple.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And um, at this point in the chat, I'd love to get your last encouraging words for Fed Nation. Anybody out there that's listening that maybe you want to just impart something from here to the group.
Fed Nation, let's keep the social distance going. Listen to your local municipalities. Those are the ones who know what's going on, whether it's good, bad, and different. We're going to get through this. I think that each individual and individual company takes the perspective of, what can I do to help out in my area, and how can I be safe to continue the business? Follow Rich's lead. Social media is great. You're not going to inundate people. If they don't want to hear it, they skip that one message. But if you give them 5 messages and they see 3, you're helping them. Let's be positive. Let's look forward. And again, we're happy to be part of Fed Nation, and hope that we have some virtual meetings in the near future to see everyone.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely things coming down the line. So, Kevin, I appreciate you jumping on today.
Thank you, Rich.
A lot of fun. And go check out KCLCAD.com. And Kevin will be there to help with anything you need. And
exactly.
Yeah. So
thanks, Rich.
Yeah. Thank you. Fed Nation, we're done with another Fed Chat. If you want to be on one, let me know. Until then, it's Friday. Go have a drink, relax a little, breathe. Better days are ahead. See you on the next one.
Bye-bye.